Most riders think an oil change is the simplest maintenance job there is. Drain the old stuff, pour in the new, and you're done. But here's the truth. Every year, thousands of engines are ruined. Not because people skip oil changes, but because they do them wrong. Tiny mistakes, barely noticeable, can silently destroy your bearings, clog oil passages, and cut your engine's lifespan in half. Japanese mechanics and longtime riders know this. They treat every oil change like surgery, precise, deliberate, and clean. Meanwhile, most of us rush through it, overfill, forget a gasket, or tighten the filter until it squeals. And that's exactly how engines die early. In this video, we're exposing 13 oil change mistakes that are quietly killing motorcycles, cars, and even high-end engines worldwide. These are the errors even experienced DIYers make, from draining the oil too cold to using the wrong type entirely. By the end of this countdown, you'll know exactly how to make your oil changes safer, smarter, and cleaner, the way professionals do it. Because if you're still guessing, your engine might already be paying the price. Ready? Let's start with mistake number 13, and it's one most riders make without even realizing it. Number 13. Draining oil that's too cold. One of the biggest rookie mistakes, and even seasoned riders slip up here, is draining the oil when it's cold. It might sound harmless, but it's actually one of the fastest ways to leave old, contaminated oil hiding inside your engine. Cold oil is thicker and slower moving. That means when you pull the drain plug, it doesn't fully flow out. It clings to the crankcase walls, traps metal particles, and leaves behind sludge that mixes with your new oil. The fix is incredibly simple but rarely done right. Warm the engine first. Let it idle for about 3 to 5 minutes. You don't want it scorching hot, just warm enough for the oil to become thin and fluid. Once it reaches that sweet spot, drain it immediately. Don't wait half an hour or it'll start cooling again. Warm oil carries out more contaminants, drains faster, and leaves you with a cleaner, fresher start. If you're changing your filter too, and you should, this also helps the oil flow through it properly on the next startup. It's a small detail, but it separates amateurs from pros. Cold oil drains are one of the hidden reasons so many engines sludge up or lose performance early. So before you touch that drain plug, make sure your engine's had its quick warm-up first. Number 12. Reusing the drain plug washer or gasket. If you've ever changed your oil and thought, this little washer doesn't matter, think again. That tiny piece of metal or rubber under your drain plug is all that stands between a sealed engine and a slow, deadly oil leak. Reusing it, even once, is one of the most common mistakes riders make, and it's quietly responsible for thousands of stripped oil pans and fried engines every year. Here's why. Drain plug washers are designed to crush slightly when tightened. That deformation creates a perfect seal against the oil pan. Once it's crushed, it can't spring back into shape. Reuse it, and the seal won't hold. The result? You might not notice the slow drip at first, but over time, oil seeps out, pressure drops, and your engine is starved of lubrication. In the worst cases, the plug loosens completely while riding. Aluminum, copper, and fiber washers all wear differently, but they share one rule: replace them every single oil change. They cost less than $1, yet they can save a $3,000 engine. Keep a pack of extras in your toolbox or glove box so you're never tempted to reuse one. And one more pro tip: always torque your drain plug to spec. Over-tightening can warp the washer or strip the threads, causing even worse leaks. A fresh washer and proper torque make your oil change clean, tight, and bulletproof. Number 11. Using the wrong oil grade or spec. Here's a mistake that can quietly destroy an engine long before you ever notice the damage. Using the wrong oil grade or specification. Many riders think oil is just oil. If it pours and says synthetic, it must be fine, right? Wrong. Modern engines are engineered to microscopic tolerances. and the viscosity and additives in your oil determine whether those moving parts survive or self-destruct. The numbers on your oil jug, like 10W40 or 5W30, aren't random. They describe how the oil flows in different temperatures. Use oil that's too thick, and it won't circulate fast enough on cold starts, starving your bearings and cams. Use one that's too thin, and it won't protect under high heat, leaving your engine metal on metal when you push it hard. Even worse, ignoring the API or JASO rating can cause friction modifiers to slip the clutch in motorcycles or ruin catalytic converters in cars. Japanese manufacturers are particularly strict about this. Many engines are built around specific oil chemistry, not just weight. That's why you'll see JASOMA2 or SN+, printed in your owner's manual. Always check your manual, not just the bottle label. The wrong oil might feel smoother at first, but inside your engine, it's eating away at your investment one ride at a time. When it comes to oil specs, close enough isn't good enough. Precision equals protection. Number 10. Overfilling or underfilling oil. Too much or too little. Both can destroy your engine faster than you think. It sounds simple. Just fill it to the line, right? But oil level mistakes are shockingly common, and the consequences are brutal. Overfilling and underfilling are like two sides of the same deadly coin. Both starve your engine of proper lubrication in different ways. When you overfill, the crankshaft slaps the oil, whipping it into foam. That frothy mix can't be pumped or pressurized correctly, leaving vital components like bearings, cams, and pistons with air bubbles instead of oil. The result? Spun bearings, overheating, and catastrophic engine failure. On the other hand, underfilling means there isn't enough oil to cool or coat internal parts, especially during high-speed runs or cornering. The remaining oil overheats and breaks down faster, leading to metal-on-metal contact. The right method? Always check your oil on level ground after the engine's been off for a few minutes so the oil settles. Use the dipstick or sight glass carefully. The level should sit exactly between low and full. If you've drained and refilled, add slightly less than the listed capacity first, then top up slowly after checking. Overconfident DIYers often say, "A little extra won't hurt." But that little extra has destroyed more engines than bad gas ever has. When it comes to oil, precision isn't optional, it's survival. Number 9. Forgetting to replace the oil filter. It's one of the easiest steps to overlook, yet skipping it can undo your entire oil change. The oil filter isn't just a side component, it's your engine's last line of defense against metal shavings, carbon deposits, and microscopic debris. Forget to replace it, and all that junk from your old oil stays trapped inside, waiting to circulate again the moment you fire up your engine. An old filter becomes clogged, forcing the bypass valve to open. When that happens, your engine runs on unfiltered oil, meaning every contaminant is now scraping across your bearings, pistons, and cams. That's like taking a shower and then drying off with a dirty rag. You've just undone the entire point. Even worse, filters break down internally over time. The paper media inside can collapse or tear, releasing particles back into the oil system. Some riders try to save a few bucks by reusing the same filter for 2 or 3 changes. That's a guaranteed way to shorten your engine's lifespan. Here's the pro move. Always use a quality filter, OEM or a trusted brand, and replace it at every single oil change. Before installing, pre-fill it with a bit of fresh oil, if it mounts vertically, and lightly oil the gasket. That small detail ensures instant lubrication on startup and a perfect seal. Cheap out on filters, and your next oil change might be your last. Number 8. Over-tightening the drain plug or filter. If there's one mistake that destroys engines and pride at the same time, it's over-tightening. Most DIY oil changers think tighter is safer. In reality, over-tightening your drain plug or filter is one of the fastest ways to cause leaks, stripped threads, and expensive repairs that can cost more than the entire oil change was meant to save. Let's start with the drain plug. When you crank it down too hard, the soft metal threads in the oil pan start to deform or strip entirely. Once that happens, it'll never seal properly again. You'll either face a constant drip or need to replace or rethread the pan. Some riders make it even worse by using power tools. Always use a torque wrench and follow the manufacturer's specs. Most plugs only need around 20 to 30 foot-pounds, not Hulk-level strength. Then there's the oil filter. Over-torquing it can crush the rubber gasket or distort the housing, causing oil to leak under pressure. The correct method is simple. Tighten it by hand until the gasket contacts the surface, then turn it another 3/4 of a turn. No wrench required unless you're removing it. Remember, oil systems are sealed by precision, not brute force. Tight enough to seal, loose enough to live. That's the real rule. One good twist too far, and you've just stripped your way into a $500 mistake. Number 7. Leaving the old gasket stuck to the engine. Here's a sneaky oil change mistake that has destroyed more engines than you'd ever imagine. Leaving the old oil filter gasket stuck to the engine. It happens all the time. You remove the old filter, screw on the new one, start the engine, and moments later, you're wondering why there's a puddle of oil spreading under your bike or car. That's because you've just double gasketed your filter, and the oil pressure blew the seal wide open. Every oil filter has a soft rubber gasket that ensures a perfect seal against the engine block. When you remove the old one, that gasket sometimes sticks, especially if it's dry, old, or hardened by heat. Install a new filter on top of that, and you're essentially stacking gaskets. The moment the oil pressure rises, it can't hold. Oil gushes out, sometimes draining the entire sump in seconds, enough to seize an engine before you even notice. The fix? Every single time you change your oil filter, inspect the mounting surface. Wipe it clean with a rag or paper towel and make sure the old gasket came off. You should see bare metal, no rubber ring. Pro tip: lightly oil the new gasket before installing it. This ensures a clean, smooth seal and makes it easy to remove next time. It's a 5-second check that can save your entire engine. No exaggeration. Number 6. Not cleaning around the fill point before opening. This one seems harmless until you realize it's how dirt, sand, and grit sneak straight into your engine. Not cleaning around the oil fill cap before opening it is one of those tiny, invisible mistakes that can cause major long-term wear. Think about it. Your engine bay collects dust, pollen, brake residue, and road grime every time you ride or drive. When you twist off that cap, whatever's sitting around it falls right into the oil system, where it doesn't belong. Even a few grains of grit can wreak havoc inside your engine. They circulate with the oil, scoring cylinder walls, bearings, and cam lobes. It's like running sandpaper through your lubrication system. Over time, those microscopic scratches add up, reducing compression and accelerating wear. Before opening your fill cap, or your dipstick for that matter, wipe the area clean. Use a lint-free cloth or a quick burst of compressed air. If the cap's on top of the valve cover, take a second to inspect for loose debris or bugs. And when refilling, always use a clean funnel. Never one that's been sitting in a dusty garage. Professional mechanics know this. Clean oil isn't enough. You need a clean environment too. Every time you open your engine, you're either protecting it or polluting it. 5 seconds with a rag can save you 5 years of engine life. Number 5. Checking oil level on the side stand. Here's one of the most common and most misleading oil check mistakes riders make. Checking the oil while the bike is resting on its side stand. It seems convenient, right? But what you're really doing is tilting your engine, which skews the reading completely. On the side stand, the oil pools to one side of the crankcase, giving a false, low reading. That's when riders top it up unnecessarily and end up overfilling their engine. The correct way is simple, but often ignored. Check the oil with the bike perfectly upright and on level ground. If your bike has a center stand, use it. If not, get a paddock stand or have someone help hold it straight. Wait a few minutes after shutting the engine off so the oil drains back into the sump. Then check the sight glass or dipstick. The level should sit neatly between the low and full marks. Overfilling after a side stand check might not show problems immediately, but it can cause frothing, seal leaks, and higher crankcase pressure down the road. On the flip side, some bikes read artificially high when tilted, leading riders to run with dangerously low oil. This mistake is small but deadly. Oil level checks are about accuracy, not convenience. Remember, engines don't care how easy it is for you. They care about precision. Upright checks only, always. Number 4. Mixing oil types or additives. If you've ever topped off your oil with whatever half-used bottle you found on the shelf, this one's for you. Mixing different oil types or additives might seem harmless, but it's one of those hidden mistakes that can ruin your engine's chemistry from the inside out. Here's why it's a big deal. Every motor oil has a unique formula, a balance of detergents, anti-wear agents, friction modifiers, and viscosity stabilizers, all carefully engineered to work together. When you mix brands, viscosities, or base types, like synthetic with conventional, you're diluting that chemistry. The additives can clash, neutralize each other, or cause the oil to break down faster under heat and stress. The result? Reduced protection, sludge buildup, and accelerated wear, especially in high-performance or high-revving engines. And don't even get started on random aftermarket oil additives. Most of them promise miracles: reduced friction, better mileage, more horsepower. But in reality, they often throw off the oil's balance even more. Many motorcycle oils, for example, are precisely blended for wet clutches. Throw in an additive, and you risk slippage or glazing your clutch plates. If your oil level's low, always top up with the exact same type, brand, and viscosity listed in your manual. No substitutions, no experiments. Mixing oil is like mixing medications. Just because both are good for you doesn't mean they'll work together. Your engine isn't a chemistry experiment. Keep its lifeblood pure. Number 3. Forgetting the filler cap or leaving it loose. You'd be surprised how often this happens. Riders or car owners change their oil perfectly, start the engine, and suddenly notice oil misting everywhere. The culprit? A forgotten or loose oil filler cap. It sounds like a silly mistake, but it's one that can have serious consequences in seconds. When the engine runs, crankcase pressure builds and oil starts circulating at high speed. Without the filler cap securely tightened, that pressure forces oil to spray out of the open hole, coating your engine bay, dripping onto hot components, and sometimes even catching fire. If the cap's loosely sitting in place, it can vibrate off mid-ride, leaving you with a massive mess and a dangerously low oil level before you even realize it. A missing cap doesn't just mean a leak. It also means contamination. Dirt, moisture, and debris can fall straight into the engine, mixing with the oil and creating a gritty paste that grinds down metal surfaces. It's like throwing sand into your crankcase. The fix is embarrassingly easy. After every oil change, double-check that the filler cap is on tight and properly seated. Wipe around it to ensure it's sealed and clean. Better yet, make it part of your final inspection routine. Dipstick, drain plug, filter, filler cap. Miss one, and your engine could pay the price. Sometimes it's not the complex mistakes that kill engines. It's the simple ones. Number 2. Not running the engine after filling. You've just refilled your engine with fresh oil, torqued everything perfectly, and checked the dipstick. Looks great. But if you stop there, you've made one of the most overlooked mistakes in the book: not running the engine after filling. This simple step isn't just about warming it up. It's about making sure your oil system is fully primed, pressure is built, and your new filter and galleries are filled with oil instead of air. When you pour in fresh oil, it sits in the sump until the pump pushes it through the system. If you don't start the engine, that new oil never circulates through the filter, bearings, or top end. The first time you do start it later, your engine runs dry for a few seconds. And those few seconds are brutal. Metal-on-metal contact can instantly wear down cam lobes and bearings. Here's the correct routine. After refilling, start the engine and let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds. Watch for the oil pressure light to turn off. That means circulation is established. Then shut it down, wait a minute, and recheck the level. You'll usually need to top off a little to compensate for the oil that filled the filter and passages. Skipping this step means guessing your oil level, and worse, running your engine unprotected. Never skip the start, settle, and check phase. It's how professionals make sure every drop counts. Number 1. Skipping oil changes altogether, or going too long. This is the king of all oil-related mistakes. The one that kills more engines than anything else. Ignoring oil changes or stretching them way too far. People do it all the time. Life gets busy. The bike still sounds fine. The oil looks okay. And suddenly, 6,000 miles turns into 10,000. But by then, your oil isn't oil anymore. It's toxic sludge. Engine oil has a lifespan. Over time, heat, combustion byproducts, and microscopic metal wear particles break it down. The detergents that keep your engine clean get used up. The anti-wear additives fade. And what's left can't properly lubricate moving parts. You might not notice it right away, but every time you start that engine on old oil, you're grinding away a little more of its lifespan. Even long-life synthetic oils have limits. Manufacturers' intervals assume perfect conditions, clean air filters, ideal temperatures, gentle riding. If you're commuting, idling in traffic, or riding hard, your oil degrades much faster. That's why experienced riders and mechanics change it earlier than the manual says. Every 3,000 to 5,000 miles for most bikes. Skipping oil changes doesn't save money. It multiplies your repair costs. A $40 oil change now prevents a $4,000 rebuild later. So, if you can't remember the last time you changed it, that's your answer. It's time. Fresh oil isn't maintenance, it's life insurance for your engine. So there you have it. 13 oil change mistakes that quietly destroy engines every single day. Most riders think oil changes are foolproof, but as you've seen, it's the small details that make or break your engine's lifespan. Forgetting a washer, overfilling the crankcase, or skipping a single change might not kill your engine overnight, but each one chips away at it, mile by mile. The truth is, engines don't die suddenly. They wear out from neglect, from habits that could have been fixed in seconds. And the difference between a tired, smoking motor at 40,000 miles and one that runs strong past 150,000. Discipline. The riders and mechanics who treat every oil change like precision work are the ones whose machines last a lifetime. If you want your motorcycle or car to keep running like new, go beyond just changing the oil. Understand it. Respect it. Every drop matters. Now it's your turn. How many of these mistakes have you made before? Be honest in the comments. And if you learned something new, hit that like button, subscribe, and check out our next video on 15 maintenance habits mechanics wish you knew. Because your engine's health doesn't depend on luck, it depends on knowledge.